I sold gym memberships before I got into private aviation. A lot of people make the mistake that when you're looking for a job, you're not in the industry, but you very much are. People remember you, and it's important to reflect the future image that you want to have in the industry off the bat.
Tell us a little bit how you personally got into aviation.
I essentially harassed him until he gave me an opportunity to intern for him. I looked up all of the top kind of performing jet brokerages. To take an unpaid internship is really what I was chasing, because I knew that I had no background whatsoever in private aviation and I needed to learn.
This is why I don't want to be a charter broker. I'm like, F that, man. Hello, and welcome. My name is Tom Lelio. I'm your ultimate jet guide, and today we're pulling back the curtain on private aviation to help you get into aviation sales with no experience necessary to get started so that you can have that life to the fullest. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the charter sales. I've got a very special guest, Mr. Cameron Carey, who's the co-founder and vice president of AvSky Charters. He's a charter broker extraordinaire, a TikTok guitarist, and recently baptized Christian. So we're super excited to have him on the podcast today. Cameron, welcome. This is a long time coming. I'm so glad to get you on the podcast finally.
Yeah, thanks, Tom, for having me. Super excited to be chatting, and we've been longtime friends, so I'm looking forward to being a guest on your podcast.
I feel like you've got a lot to bring to the table, not to like set you up too much, but like just your journey is a little bit different from my journey. I've watched your journey. So before we get started, I do want to check out over on Instagram. You can follow him at Cameron Carey. This was a really interesting video. You had the craziest charter you've ever done. So let's.
Cam, think fast. What's the craziest charter trip you've ever done?
The craziest charter we've ever done was probably the time we rescued a guy's family out of Haiti. There was a bunch of civil unrest. He needed his family out of there quick. They were American citizens, so we checked their citizenship status, found a plane that could go in there safely. We got him out safe and sound. That was probably the craziest.
Cam.
That's awesome, man. So first of all, how many takes did that take to like dwindle it down to just like a 30-second clip?
Took one take.
Oh, good for you, man.
They call me the one take wonder. The only thing that ever requires more than one is me catching the thing that they throw at me.
That's awesome. Tell us about that charter flight. That sounds kind of exciting. Like, hey, you're like the hero right now. Like, you must have felt so awesome working with this poor person in distress that just was like, please help me. I can just picture it right now.
Yeah, so a guy reached out to us. This was in the infancy of our charter company. So this is actually the first charter we ever did. It was really ripping off the Band-Aid for me in terms of kind of going just head first into the deep end. But that guy reached out. He was working with a friend of his in Haiti. Apparently, he had already rescued some people. It was kind of civil unrest, wartime out there. So even the government wasn't really going in or out when he reached out. Yeah, he found us on Instagram and he kind of let me know, hey, everybody else told me no, and called him crazy. So I figured, well, this is my opportunity to kind of separate ourselves here and do something that other people couldn't safely and effectively. So took a couple weeks of really contacting everybody, and I definitely got laughed at quite a bit trying to contact operators who would do this sort of thing. There was an airport in Haiti that was still open and running flights in and out. So we found an operator that would do it, ended up rescuing 2 people the first go around. And then he came back to us and said, hey, I want to do it again, but with 30 people. And so over 72 hours, we coordinated the documentation, everything for customs on both ends, the transport to the airport, communication between all these different parties to make sure everything happens safely. I didn't sleep at all. I worked out of my bed for 72 hours and I had my phone on my chest. And I would set an alarm for every 30 minutes so I could take naps periodically while I was.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, but it went well. We got the guys out, and it was gratifying to actually have my first charter be something that helped someone rather than just transporting them from point A to point B. It was more of a helping people and more gratifying than just having a normal charter be the first one.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I imagine for all that work, 32 people, 72 hours, no sleep. You probably raking in like a six-figure commission on that one.
I wish. I didn't
No,
know
right?
yet. I had no idea what to charge, and this guy, I think he knew that too. I My commission on it was $400. That's not my personal commission. That's how much the company made. Probably the most difficult $400 I've ever made in my entire life. Um, yeah, yeah.
Three-year commission is like $40 on that one.
At that point, I wasn't taking personal commissions. Yeah, it was all going back into the business. So I did it for free.
Oh man, that's what I love about that story. There's so much to that, especially like number one, you took the client that nobody else wanted, and sometimes that's where great relationships form and great things can happen, especially in the future. And sometimes it's an opportunity for you to learn your chops, and break through on a project like that. I was very much the same way. Like a lot of my first listings, even now, like I don't really turn people down because who am I to turn down an opportunity? If I can make it happen. Now, I get some things aren't in your wheelhouse, and maybe it's better to not, reach beyond, your capabilities and over promise and under deliver kind of a thing. But that mentality of like, I don't care if people are going to laugh at me, especially people in the industry. Like you're telling me that people in the industry were laughing at you when you called them, right?
Oh yeah, pilots and these operators thought I was stupid for even requesting a flight into an area like that. And I had done research into the situation, and I had talked to multiple different professionals and experts on that before we did the flight to do my own risk assessment, because of course our reputation matters and the safety of them matter. But from my own assessment, it was definitely possible. And also by my own assessment, knowing that they had done one chartered flight, the Florida state government did one chartered flight into Haiti prior to us going in. So if they could do it, I could do it, and we did it. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all it takes is one person to give you that shot. Everybody can laugh at you, but if you do it, at the end of the day, I was right.
That's that clipping that one. At the end of the day, I was right. Can you speak to the negative pushback that you have experienced over the past few years from those currently already in the industry? And again, not we're not here to like shame or throw names under the bus or anything like that, but there is a reality that when people are first getting started, they're coming into an industry that for the most part I believe is very welcoming and encouraging and stuff. But at the same time, there's also, negativity that they're going to face. What did that look like for you? And how did you push through that?
Sure. Well, aviation, specifically private aviation, is extremely competitive, and it's only getting more and more saturated. And it's definitely dominated by the big dogs who have been in the industry for decades, right? Doing things the exact same way as it's always been done. Everybody got into the industry in a similar fashion, but there's a turnover happening, right? Those folks they won't last forever in the industry. And at some point, younger generations and different faces will end up reshaping the industry. And I think a lot of people are hesitant and they push back on that because it's an uncomfortable reality for them. I was very privileged to be welcomed into the industry. However, there is still pushback, and there will always be pushback when you're doing things differently than other people have, right?
Yeah.
What I do, and what I would say to anybody else who is experiencing that, it's important to put your ego aside, and to know when to stand up for yourself, but also to know when to step back and know what you don't know, right?
I love that.
Yeah, and I tell this to all of my sales guys too, as I say, if you don't know an answer to a question that a customer or a passenger is asking you, because we're a brokerage, there's nobody who knows the fleet better than the operator. Lean on their knowledge and don't pretend you know something that you don't. And that has gotten me far because it earns the respect of those who have been in the industry longer, who have that chip on their shoulder that maybe they've earned, right? A lot of times they have. They've seen things that I haven't. And it's important to admit that, to recognize it, and to stay humble as you grow. And I think that will kind of help a lot with earning the respect of the people who have been in there longer than you have.
Yeah, and like you said, humility is important. It's one of those things where, some people do have a right to kind of critique maybe what you're doing or how you're approaching things because it's a reflection on them. It is a small industry. And so when a new and upstarting person or company comes out and starts disrupting things, there may be fallout that the disruptor doesn't see. And so when they're coming to critique what's going on, take it with some humility, take it with a grain of salt, if you will. So that way you can learn from it. And just hopefully just understand and be respectful towards that. But ultimately, if you want to earn your place, you are going to have to fight, might be too over word, but really struggle, to earn your place, with amongst the industry, because it is, like you said, it's a hyper competitive industry for sure. All right, let's back up a second. Tell us a little bit how you personally got into aviation.
Sure. So I started out as a market researcher for Avsky Jets under a man named Tyler Holt. I essentially harassed him until he gave me an opportunity to intern for him. I was still in school out in Nashville, Tennessee, studying
Did you?
economics.
Oh, okay. So did you know? Like, how did you? So how did you know Tyler to harass him? Like, and what did this harassment look like? I know it's kind of tongue in cheek, but I mean, there's a reality to like reaching out to somebody. Like, did you have a family connection with him, or just found him online? Like, tell me more about that.
No, I found him online. I looked up all of the top kind of performing jet brokerages. I at the time wanted to acquire and sell aircraft. And I just looked up all of the companies that I could find. I reached out to plenty of different private aviation brokerages, even charter companies, and he was just one of the names. I created a resume, reached out to him on LinkedIn, and throughout that month, kind of worked him from there to take an unpaid internship is really what I was chasing, because I knew that I had no background whatsoever in private aviation and I needed to learn. So that's kind of what I wanted.
Was it primarily through LinkedIn that you were reaching out?
Yep, I reached out through LinkedIn mostly, and then cold emailing too. And I didn't really hear back from any.
What were you sending them? Why do you think you didn't hear back from them?
To be quite honest, I think my emails were too scripted. I think they were too formal, and I'm sure they get a lot of those emails. I attached my resume, but I was under the impression that a long professional email would grab the attention of these big companies, and they didn't.
Mm. Okay, so you went the long professional route. Like, let me share my story with you through text and pull the heartstrings and hopefully get a call back.
Yeah. And I wasn't
Yeah.
even pulling heartstrings. I was just, I'm a young and hungry guy, and I want to learn, and any opportunity that you have.
So would you recommend someone not do that? Do something different, or like?
I think it was necessary in order to find the company that did work for me, right?
I
And
love that.
you have to be trying different things out, because what works for me might not work for you. I needed to do that because it was important for me to learn and to see that necessarily didn't work. But that also got my foot in the door with the opportunity that did pan out.
Right. That I love that answer. That you speak, beyond your years, because I don't think it's one size fit all. And if that's who you are and that's what you're going to put out there, you want to work with people that resonates with.
Exactly.
And not just force yourself into a company or a situation where they're the best and you just become a drone, for them. Like that wouldn't make sense either. Okay, so you're harassing Tyler. You're offering to work for free. Talk to me about that, because I get that offer very often, and it's like, well, who is this guy? How do I trust them with contact information for high net worth individuals? Like, what do I actually tell them to do? Like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, it definitely took some time. I had to kind of sell him on the vision that I had for him almost, right? Because
Oh.
he didn't believe in remote work or remote employees. And I was in Nashville and he was in Florida. So I had to convince him that I was worth the risk of having someone who wasn't there in the office every day with his team, and that I could still learn effectively from that challenge
Mhm.
environment, right? So it took some back and forth. And to Tyler's credit, I think we clicked, and I think he saw my willingness to be outside of my comfort zone for quite a while. And he really took a chance by creating a position that he didn't need. I was a market researcher. He didn't have one before. And when I graduated, per se, from that into sales, he didn't have one after. He has yet to replace that position because I don't think he really needed it to begin with. So,
Wow. And I want to like speak this out to those listening who are looking for jobs. It's great that you're willing to work for free, but that also puts a burden on the business owner to give you work to do that he can trust you, or she can trust you with, because again, we're potentially giving you access to contact information for clients that, our reputation is at stake here. So it's nice that you're offering to work for free, but we don't even know you, and especially if you're remote, we don't know what you're doing with this information, and we're paying for this information. So it's not working for free. It costs money to add you to the team and give you a login for these services. And so, I loved, Cameron, that you said you painted a vision for him. I think that's super helpful. And there's got to be some skin in the game. So that's why, some people, like, they do charge, for the training, or they charge for you. Okay, you got to pay for your own stuff, and we'll give you actual real life projects to work on, and we'll work on it together. So you get you see behind the curtain, so to speak. But, just because you're offering to work for free, that doesn't, it's not as great as an offer as you might think it is. And so I just want to throw that out there from a business owner's perspective, because I do get those, and I'm sure you get them now, right? People wanting to work with you in the charter world.
oh yeah. I have people asking for jobs all the time. And what I thought when I first started the company with Tyler is that hiring them the highest amount of people possible would help us grow, but it really is not the case. I think being selective with hiring is important, and we've learned that, and he knew that, but I've learned that through trial and error. That, having more employees doesn't necessarily mean you're more productive, and it doesn't mean you're a better company by any means. So for me, building that trust with him before having the opportunity to be on the team and shadow the team, that was crucial. He needed to trust me. Right?
Yeah.
And I needed to trust him too.
Yep. Yeah. I feel fortunate that I feel like people like trust me because they see me a lot and I show up, to educate, but that there's a false sense of relationship there, because like, well, I don't know you. I haven't seen you show up every day. I haven't seen what your opinion is in aviation, or your experience, or your knowledge in aviation. So you got to earn that, And so, that's why there's a hesitancy, and I appreciate that you're sharing with our audience, like, it takes time, and you've got to put in the effort. And sometimes that's, putting in the effort just to build the relationship, and the relationship might not go anywhere. For now, you might not get hired, but I bet you, let me guess, I would assume that now that you're in the industry, there you may be able to lean on some of the relationships that were maybe planted when you were looking for those top jobs. Like, now you see those people and like, oh yeah, hey, like I remember like reaching out to you, like I'm still here, like how's it going? And there's some seeds that might be budding a little bit now that you've established yourself a little bit more in the industry.
Yeah, for sure. It's all relationship driven. That never changes. And that starts the second you start looking for a place in the industry, right? I think a lot of people make the mistake that there are these different phases when you're in the industry, and when you're looking for a job, you're not in the industry, but you very much are, because it's a very small.
Ooh, I'm clipping that.
Yeah, people remember you, and it's important to reflect the future image that you want to have in the industry off the bat. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons it worked out for me, was because I was already acting like I was in the industry. And that's important.
Oof. That's some knowledge right there. That was good. I'm clipping that, man. That was good stuff. So, okay, let's pull back the curtain a little bit. People have kind of seen what being a jet broker is like, just through my life, and it's really just kind of sitting here, smiling, dialing, making phone calls. Can you pull back the curtain on what a charter broker life is like? Is it like Amalfi jets that we see? Is it like Dirk that we see, and people just come up to you and ask you questions, and you just kind of dispatch them? Like, are you getting these crazy phone calls? Like, Tell us more about this life of charter sales.
Yeah, it's certainly dynamic. It's round the clock for sure. It's nothing like the videos that you see on TikTok and from from all the jets. I love the content. It's
Which
super
we love. I
entertaining.
was gonna say, like as content creators, like Colin's doing. I love the Collins. I love the Steve Arsanos because it's getting eyes on aviation. And then I just come up through the back end, like, hey, does anyone learn how to sell the jets? Like, hey, I'm here. Like, what's up?
Yeah, sure. But on the charter side, it's nothing like that. It's not these big dramatic requests. Sure, they do exist, but I mean, it's a lot more of a grind than those videos make it out to be. I mean, my day
Mm,
starts sometimes at 2 in the morning and ends at 4 in the morning the next day, right? There's no stopping. It's very quick. The deal cycle can last anywhere from, I mean, sometimes the deal cycle takes a long time, but oftentimes I'll get a call and the trip needs to fly in 2 hours and I need to scramble, right?
it's usually my call. Sorry about that.
Hey, those are my favorite. That's where we shine. So I don't mind them. I welcome them. But I think that the day in the life kind of vision that a lot of people get when they don't know about the industry is very skewed. It's not sexy. It's nothing like that. There's two aspects to it. It's logistics and it's hospitality. And if either one of those are missing,
Mm,
falls apart and you're not serving the client to the best of your ability, and it's not easy. It's very much grunt work. Even at the top level, it's grunt work.
yeah. But
Yep.
why should we expect it to be anything else?
Nope. And you shouldn't
Yeah.
be afraid of that either, because that's where the differentiation exists. It's the details. It's the questions that the clients don't ask you but you answer anyways, and it's the things that nobody else wants to do for a client that you will. So it's not sexy, but there's nothing else I'd rather be doing.
That's awesome. What are can you I mean we already shared the one about Haiti, that was your first deal. Is there another memorable deal that you'd like to share to kind of illustrate to people who are just kind of on the outside looking in, like maybe I should become a charter broker? Maybe a deal that exemplifies like, well, if this deal sounds amazing to you, you should be a charter broker. If this deal scares you, maybe you shouldn't be a charter broker.
Sure. Yeah. One more recently, actually, is a great example of this. We had a client that was flying from, oh boy, it was two different countries in Europe, Paris, I think, to Genoa, Italy, or something like that.
I'm
Um,
terrible at geometry. Don't ask me where things are on the map.
yeah, arithmetic to me too. But the flight was scheduled a while in advance, and the client was kind of fritzy in the sense that he had a lot going on. He's a business owner, so this is the least of his priorities. It's a vacation for him. But a couple weeks before the flight happened, actually the day that we were confirming the booking with him, we get word from the operator in Paris that their airport that they were going to fly out of, that the client wanted to fly out of, completely flooded. The planes were,
Oh, you had a video on this, didn't you?
yeah, we did, and I shot that video about 10 minutes after the situation happened. But yeah, the runway was completely flooded. The airport was out of service and would definitely be out of service for when the flight happened. So we not only had to find a different operator on the same aircraft at the same price, but we had to coordinate in order to make this work for the client. We had to coordinate the transfer of 10 10 or 12 pieces of luggage via VIP car transfer over country lines from his hotel to his yacht. So they met the yacht in Monaco, and there were so many moving parts.
This is why I don't want to be a charter broker. I'm like, F that, man. Like too many details, too many like mission critical details to
Oh
get
yeah,
across. And it's like this can happen like that while you're just like chilling. Like, no, thanks, man. That's not me.
yeah, and credit to Eric, who's one of my sales executives. He woke up with me at 2 a.m. Because of the time difference, to stay up for the entire duration of the coordination of the bag transfer, which was the night before. And And then same thing for the trip because the time difference also required us to wake up at 2 a.m. the next day. Um,
No,
and it went well. And it went well. And so if you're afraid of the logistics piece of it, because it can get tricky, it's not for you. But at the same time, we had to, while there were frustrating things going on in the background, keep things very easy for the client.
yeah, you're the buffer.
Exactly, exactly. And it's important to fix problems before they come up for the client because they
I,
shouldn't have to worry about it.
I think what's really you talk about emotional maturity to be able to just be calm. I think that's super important. Um, solving problems before they happen. That's great. Um, yeah, man. So here's a question for you. When if you want to be a charter broker, is there market research? Are there like beginner positions for charter brokers, or do you just like jump in and you have to kind of because like I might be good at sales, but like I want to hand that off to a logistic, like I want to close the deal and then hand that off to a logistics team. Are there some charter brokers that have like a logistics team where they go talk to, Susie and she handles the logistics, but they can call me if they need something where I'm not having to deal with all that stuff? Like, I don't know. Can you pull back the curtain a little bit on some other companies maybe?
Yeah, most definitely. And we do something similar to that too. So Eric sold the trip. And then I handled most of the logistics. And
Oh, okay. So it's one of your sales guys that booked the trip.
exactly. It wasn't me. So it was a sales guy who booked the trip, and then I held his hand through the rest. It was
Mm,
challenging. But a lot of companies have an operations team, especially the larger
mm,
companies that are dealing with a lot of volume every day.
mhm.
10 plus trips a day, you need that. And that's certainly the direction we're moving in. We have an operations manager who handles a lot of the payments and the communication back and forth between the accounting teams of the operators and money transfer. But it's different company to company. We pride ourselves in having a consistent point of contact for the client. And when time is
Right.
of the essence, and it becomes a game of telephone if you have too many points of contact in between the plane and the passenger. So we try to keep that as streamlined as possible. So, but
Yeah.
with that, you can't just start doing that. So we hold our sales guys' hand um, through that process for as long as they need.
If somebody wants to be a charter broker with you, is it like, hey, come join us, interview, and then you start like commission only? Do charter brokers start with salaries? Do charter brokers start with, yeah, how do charter broker, not necessarily just with your company, but like in general, I know if somebody wants to be a jet broker, you either find a company that will be commission only, but they'll pay for all your tools and your training, which is great, or they'll start you as a market researcher, give you a salary, but you're not going to get access to the full deal and make, the money you might be looking for another year or two. What does that look like in the charter world?
It's very similar. It ranges company to company. You'll find a lot of companies are commission only. Um, and it really depends. It also depends on what kind of experience you're bringing. If you come with your own book of business, I think a company will take the risk of paying you a salary a lot easier. Um,
Sure.
but it's very competitive, and a lot, I hope this is the case. A lot of companies will cover your tools. Like I'll cover the tools for all of my employees, regardless of whether they're commission only, they're on a salary. They don't need to buy in to be an employee of mine, right? And our
Right.
responsibility is to support them to be successful. Because at the end of the day, if my sales guys aren't making money, I'm not making money,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we don't have a good company, and we don't have good morale.
So what would you recommend for somebody who wants to get into it? Like, what would your advice be somebody with limited aviation experience? How do they get into the charter broker world? Like, what are ways they can reach out, but also maybe like some training or something that you or experience that like if you see it on a resume, you're like, oh, okay, something that they can kind of start doing on their own without having to wait. Because I feel like a lot of people, they just like sit there and wait. They send out their resume, they twiddle their thumbs, and they're like, no one's teaching me how to sell jets. Like, I can't sell jets until someone hires me and they teach me. I was like, no, like all the content's out there. Like, go like learn and then
Yeah.
come to it. When you have an interview, you can actually talk to, speak intelligently. What is your advice for aspiring charter brokers?
Exactly. I mean, knowledge is more accessible now, and education is more accessible now than it's ever been. And there really is no excuse to not educating yourself, even if you don't have that job yet. So while you're looking for it,
Mhm.
it's completely free to try and gain an understanding how the industry works. It's free to learn about the different categories of aircraft and the different airports and locations.
Yeah.
All of that is free. And then the other part of that is sales experience. I sold gym memberships before I got into private aviation, but it gave me communication skills and the troubleshooting skills to be able to handle the jet sales when I was doing that, and then this. So communication is important. It doesn't matter how you're getting that, whether you're doing cold calls for a tire shop or whatever it may be. The communication is that ability is the foundation before everything else. So anything that you can do to increase that.
I agree 100% for sure. Cameron, thank you so much. It's been a really great conversation. I'm really excited about it. I know where can people like find you if they want to find out more information about what you're up to and what's going on?
Yep, totally. You can find me on LinkedIn, Cameron Carey. You can also visit us at avskycharters.com. And if you're looking for a trip, we can certainly take care of you. I'm easy to reach. You message me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty responsive there, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't also mention, like I said in the intro, congratulations on your recent baptism. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Important to keep my intentions in the right place as we grow and as I grow as a man and with a family.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Cool. Well, thanks a lot so much, Cameron. We appreciate it. And don't forget, if you're here, to go ahead and click the like and subscribe button so you get more information about how to break into aviation sales in the professional world. That's exactly what we're here, pulling back the curtain to help you get started with no experience necessary so you can live that life to the fullest. We'll catch you later.